this regular meeting of the Page County School Board.
Mr. Overfelt.
Yes.
Ms. Alger.
Yes.
Mr. Painter.
Yes.
Ms. Bryant.
Yes.
Ms. Gordon.
Yes.
Ms. Sullivan.
Do we need another?
To participate electronically.
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion that we allow Mrs. Taylor to, Alger to participate electronically. I second.
We have a motion by Mr. Painter and a second by Mr. Overfelt to allow Ms. Alger to participate electronically.
Mr. Overfelt.
Yes.
Mr. Painter.
Yes.
Ms. Bryant.
Yes.
Ms. Gordon.
Yes. Please pause for a minute of silence as we prepare for the meeting tonight. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Dr. Fox, do you have any agenda changes or additions?
I do not.
A motion to approve the agenda?
I make a
I'll
motion.
make a motion. Oh, go ahead.
Go for it.
I'll make a motion. We approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Not consent, the regular agenda.
Ms. Alger, can you repeat it, but with the regular agenda, not the consent agenda?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I make a motion that we approve the agenda. Sorry.
Okay.
I second.
Now, we have a motion by Ms. Alger and a second by Mr. Overfelt to approve the agenda as presented.
Ms. Alger.
Yes.
Mr. Painter.
Yes.
Ms. Bryant.
Yes.
Mr. Overfelt.
Yes.
Yes. Mr. Overfelt?
I make a motion that we certify the personnel matters discussed in closed meeting section in accordance with section 2.2-3711 alpha 1.
Second.
A motion by Mr. Overfelt and a second by Mr. Painter to approve, to certify personnel matters discussed in closed session.
Mr. Painter.
Yes.
Ms. Bryant.
Yes.
Mr. Overfelt.
Yes.
Ms. Alger.
Yes.
Ms. Gordon.
Yes. Any citizen comment?
No.
Can I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I make a motion we approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Second.
We have a motion by Mr. Overfelt and a second by Ms. Alger to approve the consent agenda.
Ms. Alger. Ms. Alger.
Ms. Taylor?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Mr.
Sorry.
Painter.
Yes.
Ms. Bryant.
Yes.
Mr. Overfelt.
Yes.
Yes. Presentations, Page County High School, Mr. Kale? And
Thank you.
And Ms.
Ms. Hawkins. Mr.
Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. I'm David Kale, principal at Page County High School. Thank you for letting me present today and give some little insight on what we do at Page County High School. So in our first slide, you see a group of folks. And when I say we, that's the we that I am talking about. It's not a me, it's a we. I do believe that the teachers are the difference makers for our students. And we have I'll put this group up against anybody. It's the best I've ever worked with. They are great people, caring people that will do whatever it takes to make our students be successful. So this next slide, it's kind of telling. So if you look at it, these are years of service, and these are years of service for their teaching. Some of them are quite big. When we got 136 folks that are in our CTE department. Like to call this our collective intelligence. And some of the things that we talk about here, we've built collaboration and we've built professional respect for each other in those different departments. They come from different backgrounds, come from many different schools, but they all work together and they have a common goal and a common mission. Now, one of the things, and again, I'll talk about, you may have heard of a guy named John Hattie. Now, John Hattie, what he has done is he has collected lots of data and he has put together a list of items that work the best for student learning. And the hinge point for him is what's called a point forward. That's the fulcrum. That's where the teeter-totter, that's where that stands. And what I believe we've created at Page County High School is collective teacher efficacy. Common goal, common mission. We're all on the same page. And John Hattie says that's a 1.3 on learning for students. Like I said before, 0.4 is the middle. 1.39 is the high end. So I think we're doing something pretty special with the group of folks that we have at Page County High School, again, to make the difference for our students. It's just very important that everyone knows this. That's a lot of years of service, and they're dedicated. Some highlights from Page County High School. We're really excited. We're fully accredited. Fully accredited. No, with exceptions, fully accredited. That's something I'm extremely proud of, and we've been that way for quite some time. Past 2 years, we've got a 97% on-time graduation rate. And not only folks that we're preparing for after high school, college, technical programs. If you check this out, we've got 74 students in the first semester this past year, 73 students at the Page County Technical Center. Lots of great opportunities from welding to cosmetology, everything in between, just great opportunities. Dual enrollment students, we had 81 first semester, we've got 96 the second semester. Just some great opportunities in-house for our students. 16 clubs at Page County High School. We've got something for everybody. From chess club to hiking club, there is something for every student. Again, something to draw them in. Couple things that we've done recently in the past year and a half. We created our own ELL classroom. We saw that there was a need for our English language learners. Sometimes we wanted to make sure that those students were getting all the attention they could have. So what we did is we have a teacher on staff that is ELL certified. So we gave her students that she could work with to help bridge that gap with those English language learners. Another thing, and I know Ms. Alger has seen it, and I think Ms. Gordon has seen it too, our multiple disabilities classroom. With our multiple disabilities classroom, we've added a lot of really neat things with students with disabilities. And I've got some pictures that I'll go into a little bit later. And then I just believe that we've got opportunities for every student, no matter if it's athletics, if it's clubs, something for everybody there at Page. I really believe. Some of the things that are some of our highlights, the FCCLA, our FBLA, our FFA, all award-winning clubs, just a really special group of folks and the kids that are in. So on the next slide, that's a picture of our multiple disabilities classroom. If you look on the left-hand side, you see some things that almost look like hot glue guns. Well, they're not. Those are adaptive scissors. We have fit that room with lots of adaptive tools. On the right-hand side, we've got adaptive buttons. Those buttons can control multiple things. So if someone struggles with the tactile ability to use scissors or to use a certain appliance, a button will take care of that. And we had that vision, and with the teacher there, we built that. Next slide is kind of the same thing. What was added? We added a second classroom. We added a lab for functional skills, cooking and laundry. Again, preparing all students for post-secondary. What's really neat, one of the things is with laundry, our laundry for our sports teams is done in-house, which is really cool. It gives folks an opportunity to learn that skill. We have a sensory swing. You have to see that one to believe it. Bathroom with a shower for students. We'll talk about the adaptive switches and the adaptive scissors. A three-wheel bicycle, which is really cool, seeing students be able to ride a bicycle safely in certain areas of our building that they may not have had that opportunity before, but a really cool opportunity for our students. This next picture that I have here, this is a science mural that we have. Of course, at Page County High School, we do pre and post tests for all of our classes. And believe it or not, that's a test. If you look at that, if you come into Page County High School, and I invite all of you to come, that's actually a pre-test and a post-test. There's about 60 scientific questions that you can get from that mural. And it's got everything from the moon phases, from the different types of stars, from white dwarfs to red giants. It's got everything on it. And if you notice there, that's Ms. Morton doing that very thing with those students. She's asking questions based on that mural, which that was done with student help and a local artist as well. So the kids walk by and they see it every single day. Just a different way to give a test, different way of thinking. The next slide, it's an engaged classroom. That's all of our classrooms. If you look around that room, it's visual stimulation everywhere you can look. I believe our students come to school ready to learn, and they're going to get a first-class education. They come to Page, and they're going to be engaged. That's what you're going to see. The next step, this is something I'm really excited for, and I got to thank Ms. Sechrist for her help, and I got to thank Ms. Vaughn. So I'm really excited about this. I've been trying to do this for 2 years, finally got to do it. We've purchased 25 VR goggles, and they're in. We have them, with the exception of a couple, but they're coming.
They're here. Sorry. I just marked them to come to you tomorrow. I was drinking and excited all at the same time. I apologize.
If you've ever used these VR glasses, these MetaQuest 2 goggles, my kids have a couple at home, and they are absolutely amazing. I can't think of a discipline they can't be used in. Virtual field trips. Unbeknownst to me, I put mine on. I was on top of the Alps, scared to death. But I was on top of the Alps looking around, and I was there. It is absolutely phenomenal. You could visit the Louvre if you wanted to. Just lots of different opportunities, but we have them right at Page now. So all disciplines can use them. I even heard of once, I was doing a little research online, and it said that some CTE classes can actually do virtual painting, like if they're painting a car, doing detailing. I thought that was amazing. Anybody can use these. So I can't wait for Ms. Vaughn to come in and train us all on how to use them properly. But our students are different. We're talking about Gen Z technology. They're way past me. But I wanted to start bringing in some things that's going to be attractive to Generation Z learners. I think if kids think learning is fun, they're going to show up. And we all know that we have an issue with absenteeism, but this might be a step in the right direction to make it fun. Okay, let's get to some nuts and bolts. If you look at this is something else I'm really proud of. Our school quality profile. I call this our report card, and I love seeing green. So if you look there on the left-hand side, you'll see that English, math, and science, we're level 1. We're green. We're doing quite well. Frankly, we're getting it done at Page County High School. I'll just be honest. I'm confident in that. We are, like I said, we're fully accredited, and it's a total team effort. It's not just me. It's all those people in that first picture. It's everybody working together with a common goal. And our quality teachers just make that happen. You notice our English and our math also, with achievement gaps, we're level 1. Now, if you look at the right-hand side, you're going to see a couple of things. You'll see something in red, and you'll see something in kind of a yellowish color. One of the things, and Ms. Ryman has helped us out with this, the CCRI, the career readiness. One of the things that we were doing with that, it's the tracking of our credential tests and our work-based learning, our CTE classes. We've worked with Ms. Ryman, and we were at 84% last year. It was a tracking thing, and we looked at it. We knew what our error was. We've worked together. I know Mr. Runyon was with us as well, and right now we're up to 95%. So that is our tracking. We've taken care of that. And then, of course, the chronic absenteeism. That's the one that's the glaring. That's the one that we really see a lot of. So next slide. What we did is we broke down the data that we saw in our school report card. And in the breakdown, we saw that one strand was not up to level 1. We want them all to level 1, and it was reading. and it was reading comprehension, to be perfectly honest. Reading comprehension was the area that we seemed to struggle with the most. So what do we do with this data? What do we do when we look at it? So at the beginning of the school year, we're on the next slide. On the beginning of this school year, I gave all this data to our staff, all broken down, all the subgroups, and staff came up with 2 goals. And these are the goals that we attacked this year: chronic absenteeism and reading comprehension for all students. How can we help with reading comprehension? What practice can we give? So the first one with chronic absenteeism, first thing we did is we started an attendance committee to track every single student. In the packet I gave you, you're going to see a grid that has red, yellow, and green. And I got to say, my data person, Ms. Erin Smith, is sitting right behind me. She is our data puller. So I made sure by building this attendance committee, this attendance team, I had the best data puller I could possibly get, and that's Ms. Erin Smith.
And you just made Dwayne very happy.
Yes.
So we track every student's attendance, every one of them. Now, what you have there, those are our upperclassmen. I wanted to give you a sample of what we were doing. I didn't put our freshmen in there, but it's about the same. But what you'll notice is broken down by week, and what their attendance is. Above 90% is where we want to be. 90% is going to get you green. And then if you notice, there are some areas of yellow and then some areas of red. Areas of yellow and red, we don't give up on them. We just that's who we got to work harder to get in the building. I just gets us focused. We do offer weekly incentives. One of the things that we also did is we gave a list of students that had absentee problems, gave them to our teachers, and we have a Stand For Me program, which means teachers can go through, see students that they know, give some encouragement, trying to get them into school more often, making phone calls home. Those things always help. Weekly rewards. Some teachers just give different things out for attendance. We do a weekly first block competition every week, and the winning first block gets a prize from me. So that's always fun to give out, and they don't realize that they're doing, oh, we just showed up to school, we get something? Yeah, that's how it works. But the big one is we communicate. We've got lots of people making phone calls home, emails, letters, everything we can do, attendance contracts. We do everything we can do to get those students back in the building. Last year, we were at 39.1% chronic absenteeism. Not good. Thus far, right now, and Ms. Smith ran data again today, right now we're at 25%. So we are getting better. We're at 14% better than what we were last year.
That's great.
So that's something I'm pretty proud of that. And it's the efforts of the people in the building. They are just working hard to get kids in the building. Again, we want to continue to get better, but I think 14% better for now, we're okay. Look at the next slide. That's our overall data, if you want to look at it in pie graph form. But roughly 75% of our kids coming to school on time, ready to learn. And we have some that we're still working with, and we haven't given up. We're still working. This is our whole school week by week. You can see the ebb and the flow of the areas in green. Those show how the attendance fluctuates, but we are consistent. It's roughly consistent through our time period there, and we've gotten better as the year goes on. If you look toward the last couple of weeks. Last one is the reading comprehension goal that we had. What are we doing to make reading comprehension better? Well, one of the things that our special education staff has offered to do, they've offered to go into all classrooms and to teach a lesson. Teach our kids, how do you do certain things that deal with reading comprehension? What are the look-fors when you're reading something? How to do things? How to pull out specific or great information from a passage? How do you do that? Our teachers have jumped on board. These are some things that they've gotten to do. Newsella, which our division subscribes to. Yes, artificial intelligence, we're using that. One of the great things about Newsella, which I didn't want to skip over, you can adjust the reading level. If a student is a struggling reader, you can lower the reading level or make it a little easier and give that confidence. Artificial intelligence, we can pick any article, get any article, plug it into ChatGPT, and we can put it at the reading level we want. And then we can make up questions that come along with it. We're using AI to our benefit. I know our math department uses IXL. Great thing about reading, math SOLs are lots of reading. lots of word problems. And then, of course, how do you gauge it? Summarizing, multiple choice, essay writing, verbal explanation. And I don't want to spend too much time, but one of our teachers did a phenomenal thing the other day with reading comprehension. It was an art class. And what she did is she put up on her Promethean board, she described a painting. Just described it. And she told her art students, you draw. It was absolutely amazing what the kids could do. And they all got it right because they could read what was going on the Promethean board, and then they could draw that picture. Sounds simple, something I may not have thought of, but just a great example of a different way of thinking with reading comprehension. So what are some other things that we're doing at Page? Trying to give back to the community. We've hosted 2 bingo nights completely free to the community. Everything's free. Come in, free meal. I grilled out 200 hot dogs last week on a Saturday. That was fun. Nothing got burned down, so I was pleased to see that. 100% free to the community. Our tech ed department has contributed. They constructed in their classrooms 9 picnic tables for the town of Stanley at the Hawksville Pool. They've also made 5 dog houses for Page Paws. And right now, the next thing that they're getting ready to do is build raised bed gardens for the Stanley PTO. So we're giving back. And the construction, it's awesome to see that stuff going on in our building. FCCLA, that program is just tremendous. Numerous activities, including the holiday food drive, the graveyard service project, which I have a picture of. FFA, they are instrumental in helping me put on the Veterans Day Assembly. Their big thing this year was Casey's Backpack. And don't forget the steak dinner, which is coming up in a week. Real excited about that one. I know you are as well, Sebastian. And this one is really neat. Our students and our clubs got together and raised over $1,700 for Page One this past year around the holidays. Just a tremendous outpouring of love from our kids, just giving back to folks that may be a little less fortunate. All right, next page, we got some pictures. Those are the picnic tables that Mr. Cumbia's class has built. And they're pretty sturdy because I can tell you I tried to lift them, and they are very good. The next picture is our FFA kids with Casey's backpacks and putting food in those backpacks. Again, just giving back to the community. This was one, the work that went in to make this happen, the research and the planning of our FCCLA cemetery cleanup project was just amazing. And what they did to clean those old headstones and the research they did about each individual gravestone was just, and they won an award for that, actually. The last slide I have here, that, Sebastian, you may recognize, that's our steak dinner. That's one of the big things that, yes, it is a fundraiser for FFA and FCCLA, but you know what it is? It's really a way to showcase what they've learned in school. Hospitality is a big thing. Service to the community coming in. It's just a supporting event. Local groups come in just to help us out. And I've never heard anything but very positive things going on with this steak dinner. So hopefully I'll see you guys there next Saturday. So I want to thank you guys. Again, I do offer up an open invitation. Anytime you want to come, just let me know. That way you can use all your senses, not just what you might hear, but you can come in and see it for yourself. I'm happy to take you on a tour and show what we got going on at Page County.
Well done.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Does anybody have any questions?
You're good. Like it.
Congratulations.
Oh,
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you.
Kemp.
Oh, I don't know if you have any questions.
And I will see you at the steak dinner.
I will be there.
Yeah. He's got my tickets.
Miss Miller, Page County Middle School.
Good evening, school board members, Dr. Fox, and members of the cabinet. It is my pleasure to be here tonight to talk about Page County Middle School. I am Tanya Miller, the principal, and I'm going to start out by talking about our continuous school improvement plan. So I'm going to get out of the way the not so fun things, and then I'll share pictures of exciting things in a little while. So first of all, for our continuous school improvement plan, we have 3 academic goals. Our academic goals this year are stemming around the English, the math, and the science state assessments. We have 3 action steps that we are utilizing to meet these goals. The first one is a daily RTI. RTI stands for Response to Intervention. It's a daily 40-minute session where we're really focusing in on reading and math skills, science skills that students are weak in, and just trying to increase the student academic success. We're focusing on our Tier 2 and Tier 3 students during that time. Secondly, we have professional learning communities. We call those PLCs. And these are where teams meet together and they are analyzing data. They're using that data to drive instruction, remediation, and really just working together for the success of students. And then thirdly, we started our all-in tutoring program in January. We have had quite a few students sign up for tutoring, but regularly we have about 20 that stay 2 days a week for an hour and a half. So that has been very successful. On the next slide, you will see a graph for reading. And this graph compares Page Middle's reading state assessment scores over the last 3 years. Now, keep in mind when you're looking at these scores that this graph does not include growth, and the state does include growth, but this slide does not. And so you can see that for the 2021 year, which is the year after the dreaded COVID closure, our reading scores dipped down to 61%. For 21-22, we increased to 63%, and then last year to 68%. So we're trying to meet that target rate of 75%. We have some work to do, but we are heading in the right direction. The next slide shows the math scores. You can see, again, that the year after COVID, the 2021 year, we had a substantial decrease in math scores. So we were starting out at 36% at that time. For 21-22, we increased to 47%. And then for 22-23, we increased to 63%. So heading towards that 70% target rate, that's what we're shooting for. And we're continuing to grow, heading in the right direction, but some work to do. And then for science, in the 2021 year, we focused more heavily on reading and math that year, since students were only in our building a limited amount of time. They were there 2 days a week, limited hours, and some students were remote altogether. So we did see major negative impact on our science scores in 2021. But again, as you can see, we're heading in the right direction. In 2021, we were at 39%, 21-22, we were at 42%, and then for 22-23, we were at 50%. So still not great, but we're heading in the right direction. And science, this is Science 8. So 8th grade students take the Science SOL. And so that is a class that we, half of our students take the SOL first semester and the other half second semester. So for first semester in the fall, our scores were averaging around 65%. So we're heading in the right direction, have a little bit more work to do, but we're hoping to hold that 65 or, of course, increase to 70% at least this year. And then chronic absenteeism. This is something that is an issue across the division, across the state, and really across the nation. Last year, our chronic absenteeism rate was almost 30% for the 22-23 school year. So our goal this year is to decrease chronic absenteeism by at least 10%. And some of the things that we're doing for that, as for our action steps, is we did develop an attendance improvement team. And on that team, there's a school counselor, there's an administrator, and an attendance secretary. At the beginning of this year, we met face-to-face with all students that were chronically absent the prior year, just to try to identify any barriers for them and how can we overcome the barriers, and also help them to set an attendance goal for themselves to improve their attendance. So that was effective. And then we are also offering attendance initiatives. So we do give weekly attendance slips that students can turn in for prizes. They can get a prize for a ticket, or they can save their tickets for larger prizes. And then we do a monthly homeroom attendance competition for a pizza party, and kids are all about that. They're all wanting to win that pizza party. So that's been an effective initiative this year. Now, I would like to highlight some of the fun things that we are doing at Page County Middle School. The things that's oftentimes you guys don't get to hear. You hear about school improvement all the time, but I want to show you some pictures and talk about the great things that are going on at Page Middle. On this first slide, we have a CCLC before and after school program. CCLC is the 21st Century Community Learning Center program. Our librarian, Tammy Reinhardt, runs this program. Over the last 3 years, Ms. Reinhardt reported that she's had approximately 150 students each year sign up for this program. Now, of course, they don't all stay. That's a lot of kids. But on average, she has about 25 students who attend regularly Monday through Thursday. Some of the activities that go on during this program would be Legos, Connects, crafts, fitness, drama, cooking. They have a daily academic time built in for homework, and actually Ms. Reinhardt is endorsed in all things middle school, can really help the students in any area that they need academic help with. And of course, a lot of our teachers are helping in that program. It takes a lot of hands-on for that program. There are monthly family events, and then some of our CCLC partners include Shenandoah National Park, PACA, Choices, and 4-H. On our next slide, I want to talk about our mentor program. So Page Middle piloted this mentor program last year in the spring, and we are full on implementing that this year, as well as other schools in the division. So we currently have 5 mentors, and those mentors have 7 students that they are meeting with, usually on a weekly basis. The mentors check in with the students. They connect through common interest. They talk through maybe some problems that the students are having. They support them in any way that they can. They play games with them. And if there's any issue that comes up that a mentor feels like they need to reach out to administrators, then they do. They connect with us, and we take it from there if there's something that we need to address. On the next slide, want to highlight with a few pictures here our High School Musical junior, Mr. Deontay McLean. This was his first year in that role, and so he did a fantastic job preparing the students for this. They practiced 4 months for this. The students even prepared a lot of the props and painted, and so they really were very invested in this, and this was a good time. On our next slide, I want to highlight FCCLA. This is just a fantastic chapter. This is the most active middle school FCCLA chapter that I've ever encountered. Miss Jenny Miller does a fantastic job as the advisor for FCCLA. Recently, she took our students to a state conference in Virginia Beach, and several of our students won silver and gold there. 5 students qualified for nationals, and that's going to be held in Seattle this summer. Page County Middle School's chapter was recognized as a platinum level chapter, and we received a middle level membership award. So lots of recognition in that club. The next slide, this is interesting. If you'll take a look here at these pictures, that's not something you often see at a middle school, but our FFA chapter is thriving under the advisor, Mr. Mark Balzerman. He is really in his element in this. He is a wonderful ag teacher. He is loving every minute of it. He engages students in such a wide variety of activities, including butchering hogs, which he's done twice this year, apple butter boiling, construction projects, elements of farming, and just many other hands-on relevant experiences that some students don't get otherwise. So it's just a really great program. On the next slide, this is art enrichment. And so when I talk about RTI, we mainly talk about remediation and helping students improve academically, but we also have enrichment activities in that RTI. So if a student doesn't need necessarily to be in need help with math and reading and that sort of thing, they may go to an enrichment activity. And this is one of them. So our art teacher, Ms. Kendra Phillips, she is doing a fantastic job teaching art and engaging students in such a wide variety of projects. If you look at the bottom left slide, kind of to the top right, you'll see an old drawing of a panther. So those are very old murals that have been there, I would imagine, when it was a high school. And so we are painting over those. And so with the help of students, Ms. Phillips is creating murals, drawing them, and then the students go back and paint them. So this has been a year-long project, and it's really making that hallway bright and updated. And so stop by and take a look at that if you get a chance to do so. It's really neat. I want to talk about some community outreach, things that we are doing this year. So the high school, they participated in Trunk or Treat for many years. This is the first year that we've participated with them. We joined the Trunk or Treat event that the high school puts on, but we did it at our school down in the parking lot. So students passing through on their way to the high school could stop at our school. I mean, as you can see from the pictures, we had quite a few students and staff participate in that event. And we stopped counting at 250. So we had at least 250 kids stop by, and we lost count, and we ran out of candy. And so that was a very popular event. On the next slide, I would like to talk about our Backpack Blessings program. So this is a program that we started last year, and it is continuing to grow. For our program, we are blessed to have donations from local businesses and individuals that support the program. So they donate money to us. We go to Walmart to buy the food. Walmart does give us a discount for buying that food there. And the food bags are packed weekly to send home with students. We are serving a little over 30 students weekly right now. And in those bags, we put items that are very easy for the students to prepare, or already prepared foods and drinks that students could just easily grab. And I do need to give a shout out to Miss Connie Newcomer. She is an instructional assistant in our school, and she really heads this program. She keeps track of the inventory. She tells me when I need to order more. And a lot of times she is seen packing those bags all by herself and giving those out to students. It just depends on who's available, but oftentimes she does it all. So she's been really paramount in making this a successful program. We have a PCMS Cares Closet. We started it last year, but now we're fully up and running. It is just stocked full of clothes, coats, hats, shoes, personal hygiene products. We have shower supplies that students can take home, but we also have the availability at the school for students to take a shower if they need that. And again, I need to shout out to Leslie Smith. She's our school secretary, but she was paramount in this project of recruiting, not only help to make the closet happen, but getting clothes from individuals, putting something out on Facebook like, hey, we need these items, and she's just really great and paramount in getting that started. So students really do take advantage of that. It's been very helpful. And then the next slide is our end of year fun. I had to show you how we end the year. We did this last year, and we were planning on doing this again our last week of school and one of our last full days. So we have inflatables on the upper field. We give snow cones to all the kids. We have activities down on the field, football field. We have a yearbook signing and an award ceremony. So that's how we wrap up the year, and just really, just let kids have a great time after having such a hard year and a long year. So that's how we end it. And we have a lot of fun during that time. And lastly, I just want to thank you all for your support. I really do feel supported by the school board and by this division. So thank you very much. Any questions for me?
Any questions?
Well, I've got I don't know if this covers for both presentations. First off, a lot of good community stuff, which I love in both schools, and giving back is a huge thing. There's a couple things on the charts that Dr. Fox, I'm just kind of curious on. Can we pull Page Middles back up and go to slide number 2 or 3? Page Middle. So slide 2 or 3, I think it is. I go to 4. Okay, let's stop right there. So that's good. That's good. So what I liked about those charts, when you compare them between the school and the state, you're changing the delta every year, right? You're reducing it to 25%, sometimes 50, even more, which is great. And I would like to see our elementary schools that feed into the middle school on all levels, this kind of information on what that looks like for their schools. That way we can kind of see how it's all projecting, because I'd like to see it right underneath of it, and just that way we could see how these feeder schools, what they do as they're sending students that way. So I really like that. The other one I liked with the Page County High Schools was that years of service bar chart. I believe all of our schools should have that. So we can see kind of what we're going to lose because we're losing as people retire, as they get older and then ready to retirement age. I would love to see that for every school just to keep a track on what's going on there because there are some places that you're low in, right? And you know where you got to spend your time, with that and make sure you got the systems in place that it can continue on. And the huge thing is, well, the big challenge for our school is, I think, as our teachers retire, what are they leaving behind for the next teacher there? And what kind of processes and programs are you already putting in place to gain from that experience that it can be passed on and we can keep it where we're at the present time and even improve it? Because your technology will definitely improve some things, but man, you can't. A teacher and experience, there's nothing like that, as we all know. So that's just 2 chart comments there.
I was going to dovetail into that because if we could get some standardization within the presentation and we have that kind of slide statistics provided for each presentation, that way we can actually get a better grasp of what's going on across the district. And we can also see the feeding from the elementary schools into the middle schools and so forth.
Middle schools into the high schools, yeah, for sure. But very good presentations. Thank you both.
Thank you. Ms. Baker, Special Education Annual Plan.
Good evening, board members. I'm happy to be here this evening to present to you the local special education annual plan. And with me this evening are 2 of my esteemed colleagues, Ms. Hilliard and Mr. Good, both are special education supervisors. And so they helped with contributing to the development of this plan. And I'm going to try this evening to make this plan make sense to you as you work through the application that's been provided to you in the board packet. Okay. So to start off with, I wanted to do an overview of the annual plan. This is also called a flow-through application, and it's for federal grant funding. This slide illustrates for you that the dollars flow from federal to state and from state into the local budget. The grant application, which is a part of your board packet, is an annual agreement between Page County Public Schools and the Virginia Department of Education. The application is reviewed by the local Special Education Advisory Committee, and this was done on April the 15th. And then it's presented to you for your consideration tonight, and will be back on your agenda next board meeting, May 9th, for approval. The funding is contingent upon the final approval and the award amounts from the Department of Education, and the Department of Education may require later adjustments depending on how much they award to the division. The funding is driven by this division's December 1 child count. So I want to take a few minutes to walk you through the December 1 child count and what that data tells us, and then come back to the annual plan. The December 1 child count is a snapshot of the number of students with disabilities in Page County Public Schools on December the 1st of each year. To be included in the count, the student must be eligible for special education services and must have an IEP in place. The IEP is the individualized education plan for the student. This is an unduplicated count, which means that each student is only counted once, regardless of how many disabling conditions they may have. The number includes all PCPS students who meet the criteria, including our out-of-district placements, our students who are homeschooled but have disabilities, and students who may be parentally placed in private school settings. You'll see that we were experiencing a downward trend following the pandemic, but in the most recent child count, which would have been December the 1st of 2023, we saw an increase of 32 students. Now, part of that was due to a large population, a large number of students who transferred into our division from other localities in Virginia and from other states, in addition to students who were newly found eligible prior to the December 1 count. Okay. According to the National Center for Education Statistics for the 21-22 school year, 14% of Virginia students ages 3 to 21 were eligible for special education services. Eligible students are those that were identified by a team of professionals as having a disabling condition that adversely affected or impacted academic performance and required special education or related services. The chart on the slide illustrates that our school, our division, aligns with the Virginia percentage. So we're sitting currently around 13.6%, and the state average is 14%. So using that information as a background, we're going to dive into the actual annual plan. And in your packet, your board packet, you should have a large document. I did not make a printed copy because it's so large, but I'll be referencing it throughout the slides, and I'll be pointing attention to page numbers and to titles in the bottom right-hand corner, okay? You'll notice that in pages 2 through 7, they address the local education agencies' assurances and certifications. These are the policies and procedures that must be designed to prevent over-identification, under-identification, or disproportionate representation by race or ethnicity of students with disabilities. After your approval of the annual plan, Dr. Fox has to certify that the school division will comply with the Individuals with Disabilities Act, IDEA, and with its federal implementing regulations, including policies and procedures that the Department of Education has established. And on this slide, I snapshotted some of the major pieces of the certification and statement assurances that are part of those page numbers 2 through 7. Okay, plan components is the next piece. And in your packet on page 8, you'll see reference to the interagency agreement between Page County Public Schools and the Page County Jail. We do have an MOU with Page County Jail, and we do provide special education services to students who may be incarcerated. We also provide child find for folks who may be at the local jail and in need of special education services. Page 10 in the packet describes the division's responsibility for the maintenance of effort, or MOE. In order for the division to be eligible for funds described in this grant, the division must budget at least the same amount of dollars that it actually spent for the education of students with disabilities in the most recent fiscal year. The CCRIST provides these projected local and local plus state dollar amounts for the MOE eligibility that's shown in the report in your packet. Page 11 of the packet describes both the proportionate set-aside, PSA, and the Coordinated Comprehensive Early Intervening Services, CCEIS. The proportionate set-aside is required to set aside funds for students with disabilities who are parentally placed in private schools. The dollar amount is required based upon the number of students who were reported as being parentally placed in a private school in our district during the November count just prior to the December 1 child count. The CCEIS is a mandatory set-aside amount for certain school districts with disproportionate special education eligibility and identification concerns. School divisions can be mandated by the Department of Education to set aside 15% of their award amount for coordinated comprehensive early intervening services. But Page County Public Schools is not a targeted division, and we do not have to set aside the required CCEIS amounts. And then the final two sections of the application relate to Section 611, which is school age funding, and Section 619 for preschool funding. Okay, the 611 school age grant, these are the federal flow-through funds intended to supplement, not to supplant, the division's responsibility to provide special education services and staffing. The 24-25 grant reflects an award amount of $800,218, and this amount will reimburse the division 100% of the salary and benefits for the positions listed on this slide. And it also includes reimbursement for some of our division teachers who provide district-wide coverage, and so they have to travel back and forth between schools. The award amount that we're projecting for this upcoming year includes the increase of one special education teacher position. So if the award comes through as we anticipate, we would be increasing one teacher position contingent upon that final award amount. So 9 special education teachers. This Section 619, or preschool grant, reflects an estimated award amount of $18,248. This amount will reimburse the division a portion of the salary and benefits for one early childhood special education paraprofessional, including some mileage reimbursement required for division-wide travel for certain itinerant ECSE teachers, early childhood special education teachers. So the next steps for this award grant, the grant application that's in your packet as you read through it the next 2 weeks, we'll be working to ensure that our numbers, the accuracy of everything that's in there is airtight and ready for you for the next presentation. And then we would be asking for your approval at May the 9th. Upon your approval, then Dr. Fox has to sign off on all of those local assurances. It's then submitted to the Department of Education. And the Department of Education then may require us to make adjustments based on how much they actually award to the division. And upon final approval, then we will make those adjustments as we're required to do. And I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Anybody have any questions?
I mean, I'm just curious, could we go back to that chart with the increase of students? I can't remember which one it was early on. Right there. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, it's down there where the number of students continues to increase. I'd say probably maybe, let's see, right there. So 23, 24. And that's gone up at least, 1% since 19, 20. It seems like it's going to continue to go up. Does that make sense? I mean, is that what you guys are seeing?
It definitely seems that way.
Yeah.
It seems, based on the referrals that we see, and you guys can chime in, it seems like we're getting a lot of referrals at the preschool age right now, and a lot of referrals related to behavioral issues.
Okay. Do you ever break down our number of students, whether it's behavioral, medical, what?
So it is broken down by disability category.
Okay.
The problem is that some of the categories are so small that I have to be careful not to give away identifying information.
I got you. Yeah.
But I can give you some global.
I would be interested in some global because I believe it's going to. Okay, I hope it doesn't, but I won't be surprised if it doesn't really start to pick up more steam and more steam.
Mm-hmm.
And if you think about the requests that come in, right, that sometimes the testing doesn't show that they need that, right? That's another thing to kind of track. I'd like to know how many requests are in and also what we may, turn down because of testing, however that's done. I like to have a better understanding of that.
Sure.
And if it's too much information, I get you don't want to identify any students. I understand that. But
I think what we could do is take the disabling conditions and put them into percentages, because then we could say this is like less than 1% and tell you what categories fall into that. I think we could do it in such a way to not give away information that would be identifiable.
yeah. And then the next thing I would ask, Dr. Johnson is, this is very difficult, and having counseling available to the people who are involved. Do we offer those kind of things that help the stress of it all? I mean, because
You're talking about staff?
staff, yes, because if no matter it's Warren County, Page County, it doesn't matter which county, nobody's happy with this, particularly the parents. And I understand some of it, and some of it you guys are just having to just get, well, I'm not going to go there. It's very difficult. I just hope that we're kind of monitoring those kind of things and making sure we're giving the support. I know the principals are going to do it and everybody's chipping in, but there comes a time when you're just like at your breaking point, right? And I think that's why we're seeing so many people, maybe I just need to go do a different job and a whole different,
That's a trend you're seeing across the
Yeah.
state, across the nation. I mean, we do rely primarily on our principals and, those departmental and school staff, but, and we rely on her department, we rely on, human resources. We do have the employee assistance program, which staff can call and get free counseling. It's very confidential. We don't know anything about it other than the end of the year, we get a number of people that utilize the service. That's it. So I think what I would say is I just encourage anybody, if they're struggling or they're just let somebody know so that we can then put the supports in place that we need to, whether it's just, offering that encouragement support or whether it's we need to provide more training or more resources or whatever it is. I just encourage people to reach out and ask for help when they need it.
Yeah.
And this time of year is hard. Everybody's tired, right? The end is there, but it's not quite there. May is especially stressful because of all the testing that's taking place. So I just encourage people to ask for help if they need it to all of our staff.
I saw the sign today at Springfield, 29 days.
And I was going to say, I would just add that EAP, the Employee Assistance Program, while, it's not personal to, Dr. Fox is not in the middle of counseling and that kind of thing. We are very proactive. Anytime we hear a hint of stress with a staff member,
That's what I want to
very
know.
proactive in saying, here's the EAP, here's how you reach them, please take advantage of it. So we haven't posted it, twice in August and then expect them to remember. We really try to get them to use it.
It's important for them to understand there's no stigma attached to that because it's confidential.
Yeah.
So no one knows about it.
So that's the staff that has a concern in mind. And then the other part of it is the parents, right? Because they want the best for their child. And I understand that 100%. But that's also their stressors in that. And there's all kinds of reasons that they're stressors for that. There's financial, there may be drug use involved in some of it. I know those things are facts in our county. And how we can help get some information to parents as well as a collaborative. Because usually when it's bad, it's really bad.
I would say the same thing to a parent. If you're struggling, you need help, you're not even sure what you need to ask, reach out to any staff member, whether it's a bus driver, a custodian, a teacher, or instructional aide, principals, staff up here. You can call up here and just say, I need some help. And we'll direct somebody will engage in a conversation. And then we'll get the resources that are needed, whether those are internal school division resources or they're external. We'll work to connect them to those resources. We do push out our list of supports, community supports. We do them usually around the holidays. We're getting ready to push those out again with a communication that's coming out about vaping.
Okay.
So those community supports are there. That community resource guide that we've put together through the community forum, that's on our webpage and available.
I also received that as a parent. Just side note, I didn't mean to interrupt you, through a class dojo from the guidance counselor at one of my children's schools.
Okay.
So just so you all.
And that goes out in an email form? Or how does that?
So the lower grade levels utilize that dojo, but yes, we all are.
Okay, so
parents are-
dojo is something, I don't know.
It's like an app and
Okay.
it's
Okay.
so like we're connected with the parents, we're connected or
Okay.
with the teachers rather, and we're connected with the guidance counselor and that sort of thing. And they can push messages out. We can see group, like they could send something out that the kids did that day, or they can send a message to me personally, but the guidance counselor at this particular school sent that actual document out to all the parents that there were resources available, the community resource guide.
And I think the idea of community involvement like our schools presented tonight, we kind of want to get that, we don't want to be arguing and fighting with one another. We're on the same, and the child is the most important thing we've got, right? And how we can work together on these things. Just
Yeah, and then I would just say the same thing is true of students. If they need help, reach out to an adult. And if they don't know what to do, just go to another student and that student can advocate. Use the Stop It app. That's anonymous. So I just encourage people to ask for help. I think Mr. Kale is right. He put his picture of his staff up there. I think you'd hear every single principal say, and you've heard them say their staff are committed to helping and supporting kids. So if anyone is in need of help, just reach out. And I would say to a community member, you're not a parent or a guardian in our division, but you need help, call our number. We can help connect you with some folks in the community who can help.
Thank you.
Dr. Johnson, Human Resources and Business
Yes, ma'am.
Operations.
Good evening, members of the school board. I have actually three things. Ms. Jeffries is going to do a presentation. I wanted to quickly give you two informational items out of the department as well, just to give you an update on some things that we've been talking about over the last couple of months. And then Ms. Jeffries has got a presentation for you. Update on the automated locks around the division. That has gone really well. The wiring is complete in all of the schools except the two high schools. That's been a huge job because you can imagine the cable that has to be fed through ceiling tiles from back doors to front doors to, the size of the buildings, but that's done. The scan pads are installed. You'll notice even in this building, you look at the outside of doorways when you go out, see a little square scan pad. Huge shout out to Mrs. Anita Ragland, who's our receptionist here, who has pretty much single-handedly, Mr. Bell has assisted her, but in the process of creating about 700 ID badges, making sure we have the right photos on the right badge and the right spelling, and the first batch got delivered to Springfield this week. So those automated locks are virtually here in most schools and just about complete in all schools. The high schools, we're going to wait until the end of the school year to finish that piece, but we're really pleased about how that's gone. So I want to let you know that. The second update is the school buses that we explored. And I sat before you very excited a month or so ago. My news tonight is not as exciting. We ended up closely examining 7 buses. 5 of them were Thomas, 57 passenger. Corey Turner, our head mechanic, was very intent on them, looking at the engines, looking at the bodies. They sent us details on mileage, VIN number, engine codes, the whole nine. Of the 5 Thomas, they were 130 to 153,000 mile buses. They're the flat nose, short ones. Corey's concerns with those, there were a couple of concerns. One, the age of five buses. One was 21 years old, 3 are 20 years old, 1 19 years old. And you're 140, 150,000 miles. Mm-hmm. They've been sitting quite a lot because they're used only for training. They weren't daily route buses, which is why the miles. Corey would prefer we not go that route because he was afraid that we would be ending up putting more into them in maintenance than value we would get out of them. The other 2 we were most interested in were special ed Bluebird buses with the back door accessibility and all of that. Unfortunately, those were newer, a 2011 and a 2012, but 183,000 and 173,000. And so again, at the end of the day, when Corey really thought about, could we get a year or 2 out of them with the type of mileage we do in this community? Probably could, but do we run the risk of ending up spending more than putting more time on our mechanics and having to go to Mr. Secrets more often than not for major parts? He just didn't think that the risk was worth the gain. So we have not yet. I've not gotten back to those folks. I wanted to share it with you all first to make sure you all are comfortable with that decision. But the decision right now, Corey's recommendation is that we say thank you, but not act on that.
Yeah, they're pretty old.
Yeah.
It's a lot of age on them.
Yeah.
Maybe we should try another school district.
Yeah, and that was what we thought about that. There's 2 or 3 other large ones. I just need an in. And I don't
Right.
mean that sounds silly, but sometimes you reach out to these large divisions and it's hard to get someone to pick up the phone or respond to your email unless you have someone with some familiarity that says, I got you, I'll connect you. Yeah.
Maybe we ought to go to the president of the VSBA and ask him for some recommendations, and maybe he could make some phone calls for us.
Yeah. It doesn't hurt to ask.
No, all I can say is no.
That's right.
What's any radios? Are the radios in?
The radios are they've been in all year.
They're doing well?
Yeah, we have 2 channels.
Okay.
We started the year on 1 channel from Compton all the way to Naked Creek. We quickly realized the chatter was too different between the two ends. So we branched out to 2 channels. Here we can scan and hear both channels all the time. So Mr. Bell and I have a radio right outside of our office. Transportation folks have radios, and we can listen to it morning and evening. But the southern end don't hear the northern end chatter, and vice versa, which the drivers were really, it was their recommendation. They were really pleased when we were able to do that. But they're fantastic. They'll work. We can drive to Buffalo Gap in a sports game, and we can communicate on those radios. Incredible.
Okay, good.
And what about our cameras on the buses now?
So the cameras, we still only have the main camera on the front. We are working on a PO for stop arm cameras.
Just a little bit.
What's
Yep,
that?
good.
We'll see that in just a
Oh,
little
you're
bit.
going to see it.
All right, good. Hey.
One of my meetings with the drivers last month, that was one of the big requests, that we still, people are running the stop arms and the lights, and they were begging for those cameras, and Dr. Fox and Patty were able to find some funds, and so those are being ordered with your approval tonight, and then we'll have those cameras on the stop arms as well.
Thank you. Ms. Jeffers?
Good evening, board members. I am very happy to be in front of you tonight to give you some updates of what's been going on in the Nutritional Services Department since I last spoke to you, which I think was in the fall. So one of our exciting news is that we are now on Instagram. So if any of you have Instagram, or any of the people that are hopefully watching remotely, if you would follow us at Page County Public Schools. We are posting our daily menus through something called a story. If you're not familiar with that, it lasts for 24 hours and then disappears, which is perfect. It's there when they need it, but it doesn't get clogged up with all the additional information. We're also doing some various posts of other exciting things that kind of stick around on the grid. I'm using all these terms like I know what they are because I am brand new to Instagram myself. So, we're learning at the same time. The other exciting news is that Mr. Samples was able to get us a generic email address, food@pagecounty.k12.va.us, where anyone can email if they have a concern, a question, a suggestion. And we're looking for, to hear that from the community, from our students, from our staff. Whoever, if they want to tell us something, that's a way to reach out, and that goes directly to our central office staff. Our next slide that we have is just some of the new things that we've done this year. We've been trying to highlight some important months. So we haven't hit all of them this year, hopefully by next year. But we did highlight Hispanic Heritage Month. We worked with our EL teacher to get the bottom picture towards the center. That is a traditional Puerto Rican dish, and we were able to offer that to our students during Hispanic Heritage Month. We were able to celebrate Black Heritage Month with French fries. You may say, how do French fries relate to Black Heritage Month? But we gave some information to share with our students that the first French-trained culinary chef was actually James Hemings, one of Thomas Jefferson's slaves that he took with him to France. And when Mr. Hemings came back, he brought the concept of French fries back to the U.S. because he happened to be the first French-trained chef. We were able to highlight local Route 11 potato chips on a special day. We did at our elementary schools for Leap Day. We handed out little leaping frogs, which I'm not sure that the staff and principals appreciated very much, but the kids loved them. For Women's History Month, we highlighted one woman who invented the precursor to the toaster. So you see the breakfast there, including toast. And we also highlighted Madhur Jaffrey, who brought the concept of Indian cooking to the West. And so we created a tikka masala and a chana masala that actually got rave reviews from our students. And the last thing on there, we did do donuts right before winter break, because who doesn't love a donut? The next thing that we have started this year is the fresh fruit and vegetable program. And we're doing that at the elementary level at all 4 of our elementary schools. 3 days a week, students receive an afternoon snack of a fresh fruit or vegetable. And one of the days of the week, we create some nutrition education for the students. We've worked really hard to integrate that into some of the lessons in the classroom. So if we, for example, on here, we talked about grapes and that grape seeds were found with mummies in Egyptian tombs. And our younger students do learn about those ancient areas. So again, trying to integrate those SOLs into some nutrition education, or we might highlight something that Thomas Jefferson or George Washington, again, trying to bring the Virginia history in because we're so lucky with all of what we have here, and get our students to try some new things that maybe they haven't been exposed to, so that when they see them on our serving line at lunch, they're like, hey, I know what that is, and I liked that when I tried it. Miss Campbell, who works with me here at Central Office, and I are part of a recipe development cohort with the Department of Education. And so we've been doing taste testings of 2 new recipe items that specifically focus on Harvest of the Month items for Virginia. And we created some apple chips and also some, we originally called them spicy. The kids said they weren't spicy, so we're calling them seasoned kale chips. And both of them have gotten over 70% approval rating from our students, so they will be coming on to our menus in the next 6 months to a year. The next slide that you see is our farm to school. Pretty important thing for me. I truly believe that being able to put our reimbursement dollars back into our local community can just multiply the values that we have. So we were able to, and I don't have a picture of it because I didn't get any pictures of them before they got processed, but we were able to have 14 lambs that were raised by Page County High School FFA, processed, and we have been using that lamb meat in some of our meals throughout since December when they were processed. We just got some love from Sylvanaqua Farms. That's the chicken pieces and parts that Dr. Fox asked you for your approval for a PO for them. But
Excellent chicken.
yes,
Make up for that.
It is excellent chicken, and we are their first institutional buyer, and they were super stoked. They put that on Instagram. We were able to then reshare it on our Instagram. In one day, they had over 1,400 likes, 69 comments, all of which were positive. And so being able to connect that back to Page County to say, hey, that's us. We are the people that are doing these things. Cool. I also just got back from a week training. The USDA calls it Produce Safety University. It's a training specifically on how to handle fresh produce to make sure that you're getting the most for your money, but you're also safely preparing that produce. And that was a train the trainer. So I'll be training our internal staff on those techniques to make sure that we're providing safe produce that we receive. I know I'm super excited. I love what I do. So super excited that we've gotten some additional grant funds this year. We just were awarded $18,448.28 in the state's centralized local procurement pilot program. It's a mouthful. The CLPPP is a coordinated effort by the Virginia Department of Education. They set aside some funds specifically for local procurement through food hubs. There's one in the Charlottesville area called 4P Foods. And so we will be spending this $18,000 and some odd dollars on purchasing local foods through that food hub. We also recently were awarded $50,000 in a VDOE equipment assistance grant. We are going to be purchasing a blast freezer for Luray High School. That blast freezer will take something that's 120 degrees and make it frozen solid in about 4 hours. It'll take something from 135 degrees down to refrigerated temperatures, which we would need for food safety, in about 90 minutes. So we're going to hopefully be taking a lot of our local produce as it comes in this summer, processing it, flash freezing it to be able to use it throughout the school year. And then the last grant that we just received is $21,000 from No Kid Hungry Virginia. This is going to be for some marketing of our summer feeding program. We're going to take Meals on the Bus, which is our mobile feeding bus. Right now, it looks very similar to a school bus. We're going to get it wrapped with some, to make it noticeable. This is Meals on the Bus. So you see it around. We're going to have yard signs at each of our stops. We're going to have some incentives for students or children. Let me clarify. That's for any child 18 and under. They don't have to be a student of PCPS. And the more days they come, the more tokens they'll earn, and then they can trade that in for small prizes like jump ropes or frisbees or other things. Again, trying to encourage them to continue to participate. We're also going to be holding 2 on-site staff training here in Page County, so we're not having to travel outside the county. On the 21st, the Institute of Child Nutrition out of Mississippi is coming for a day training. And then our summer managers workshop will occur on August 8th. So these opportunities are hands-on in the kitchen for our staff, again, without having to travel. And then the last thing that I wanted to talk to you about, similar to the December 1 child count, in school nutrition, we do an April 1 count of the identified students within your division. And identified students are students who qualify for free meals, specifically in this count, free meals based off of someone in their household receiving SNAP, which formerly known as food stamps, TANF, temporary assistance for needy families, homeless, migrant, Medicaid that is income-based at the free level. We calculate the total number of students within our division that automatically qualified based off of one of those, divide it by the total number of students within our division, and that's how we get our ISP number. If you gave you some historical data here, so as you can see, we have steadily increased in the percentage of students that automatically qualify for free meals in the past 3 years. And then what happens is they take that ISP number, they multiply it by 1.6, which is the federal government has determined that if you have that many kids that come in automatically free, that there would be a certain amount that would not ever put in an application or that would be at that reduced rate. And so you use that 1.6 multiplier, and that tells us that 83.92% of our students are considered eligible for free or reduced price meals. And so we will be using that as we move forward for the next school year. I do have my email address, and again, that generic food at Page County. Before you have any questions, because I'm afraid I will forget, I have to shout out to my staff, who is, I would say, the most amazing staff in Page County. And next Friday is what we call School Lunch Hero Day, always celebrated on the first Friday of May, so May 3rd this year. And I say that they're the most amazing staff because I would say that anybody could probably give me the name of one lunch hero from their own childhood. That you probably still know at least one name of somebody who served you meals when you were a child. And so this staff is sometimes unsung. And so I wanted to make sure that I did not forget to tell everybody, please thank your school lunch hero on May 3rd. So, any questions?
The free and reduced number, how does that compare to our surrounding counties? Do you have any, or the state in general? That number, I mean, that's the number we use all the time for grants that you give us all the time. That number is, when we first started writing, we were at like 50%. And now 83%, that is just, that's just wild to me. That is.
It is. When we look at neighboring counties, Rappahannock, very small, very different population. They're a very low percentage. Pretty much everybody that surrounds us, we are the highest percentage. Harrisonburg City has a different demographic, but they're also a city. And so that brings its own uniqueness to theirs, but theirs is probably in that range as well. But when we're looking at things like Rockingham or Shenandoah, Warren, Greene, I mean, we're above them.
I think when we started the community forums back in February of 2023, 22, we were around 71%.
Yeah.
So in a year and a half, it's gone up to
Significantly.
83. Yeah.
Well, I mean, you got to expect it with the inflation rate that's happened in the last 3 years. It's unbelievable what it's cost us now.
Yes. And I would say that those people coming in automatically free are people that are having to meet those thresholds for social services. So if they haven't gone up by the percentage of inflation, which I doubt they really have jumped that much, they might have, but that there just is also greater need in the community right now.
We're seeing the number level. They're all going up. That's incredible.
Thank you, Michelle.
Thank you.
Dr. Fox, superintendent's update.
And I will not be offended, principals, if you all want to leave. I know it's late and I know you spend many nights out. And staff, thank you all for being here. I will not be offended if you at all. So just a short update tonight. Want to start with some information about good things that have been going on and just give you an update on just recently on the 12th of April, our fifth graders went to visit the tech center. So about 225 students went to learn about the various programs and experience hands-on activities with current students at the tech center. So an awesome experience for everyone involved, including those high school students who got to show off what they're learning at the tech center. So kudos to the staff at the tech center, Mrs. Pettit, Mr. Pitts, and their staff there for putting this on, as well as the collaboration with the elementary administrators and their staff and transportation and making all of that happen. In addition, last Thursday was our yearly art show. This year it was at Page County High School, so thank you, Mr. Kale, for hosting. But just a wonderful experience for students and their families to come out and see all the artwork, the creative things that our art teachers are doing with students, and just the incredible talent that we have in this division. So thank you to all of our art teachers for their work, because it takes a lot of work to set all of this up. So we want to just say thank you to them for that. Thank you to the parents for coming and enjoying and celebrating. It's fun to watch the kids be very, very proud and say, "Mom, take my picture, take my picture." So, just a couple pictures there. And the next slide shows our tech staff are also there. So that's two of our ITRTs, Ms. Vaughn and Nicole. They are there with the green screen, so folks can play around with the green screen and create their own art that night as well. There's compliment and artist station where you can write a little compliment. And then just another picture showing you all the different displays that are there. So again, thank you to all of our art teachers, administrators, and transportation staff for supporting that event. That same evening, Mrs. Sullivan Smoot and Mrs. Linda Breeden Wallace, we were in Winchester for the VSBA regional meeting, and they have an art competition there as well. And we had some submissions and we won. So congratulations to Amber Sky Moore from Luray High School. She placed in second place at the high school level. And then Carly Cubbage from Stanley Elementary, she also placed second.
Nice.
So we're going to invite them and their families to a school board meeting in April so that we can award them their, we'll give them, May.
May.
Teachers have my hide on that one. Dr. Fox, we do not need to repeat April. Excuse me, in May. We want to invite them in. We'll present them with their artwork, give it back to them with their ribbons and their certificate. So We would like to celebrate them. Their principals are aware and of it. So it's a big deal for that. So we're excited to have the winners there. We're also very excited to announce and congratulate that both Luray High School and Page County High School have been recognized as WISE 100 Best High Schools for their work and success in supporting financial literacy instruction. So that is a big deal to make that. Certain number of students have to pass those assessments. So congratulations to those teachers for the work, for the students, the counselors, the administrators. And we'll celebrate that more because I think it would be nice, Mr. Kale, and we'll get with Ms. Clark. I think we'd like to bring those teachers in and celebrate them because it's a lot of work to get to this and to have this award. So we're very proud of them and thank you for your leadership and guidance in that. And then we just wanted to provide you with a quick update about a lab school. And I'm not sure if you're not familiar with lab schools, but the Department of Ed and the governor, they've put a lot of money into these innovative opportunities. And so we are excited to say that we're partnering with Laurel Ridge and with Germanna Community College for a Future Educators Academy. So it's going to be beginning with the 25-26 school year. And what it is, so imagine, take the tech center where students in 11th and 12th grade spend part of their day at the tech center. Imagine the governor's school where kids spend part of their day at the governor's school. Now we'll also have students that will be going and they're going to be spending part of their day beginning their tenure to become a teacher. So it's an exciting opportunity. Obviously, we need teachers. And so this program is fully funded. It's 100% free for the students. The commitment from the division is transportation. For us, a little bit of a challenge there because right now the classes are going to be at the Middleburg campus, but we are working with them to bring those classes closer here. And they're committed to working with us. We've made a commitment to it because we don't want to miss this opportunity. So we're very excited about it. The current 9th grade students will get information this summer. It'll come to them about the program. Every student will get a mailing. And then they'll begin registering over the course of the next year because the program again will start in 25-26. So we're excited to be a part of this. There are about 6 or 7 different school divisions that are involved. And it's just be a great opportunity for our students and again to start building that pathway that we have kids that graduate from here and then come back and teach here. A typical day for the students, if you could move to the next slide, thank you. Essentially, this just sort of shows you they'll travel from their high school, or excuse me, they'll travel from their home to their high school. They'll take the bus then. We'll transport them to Laurel Ridge. They'll take 2 classes there, and then they'll return to their home high school for lunch and take their afternoon classes at the school. So very similar model to, again, the governor's school and the tech center programs that we already have running. And we'll keep you updated on that right now in terms of how many students move forward. We're going to meet with principals, school counselors, and let them know that all of that's coming, and then we'll push out information this summer to students and parents. Just a quick update on the budget, not a whole lot to share with you. The governor and the General Assembly did meet on April the 17th. They have extended their negotiations. Unfortunately, they didn't sign or come to a consensus. So they are going to come back together for a special session on May the 13th. They're scheduled to vote on May the 15th, but the buzz that we're hearing is that that may not happen. I was told that they've essentially started, they're going to start from scratch. So to be able to potentially do that in less than a month, I don't know. So we'll see, but what we're hearing is that's not likely that something will be signed on the 15th. So we'll continue to keep you posted. We do have to have our budget technically adopted in May. So does the Board of Supervisors. But again, you'll see the asterisk that says amendments will have to be made based on where we are with the state budget. I am hoping, I'm praying that we're not in the same position we were in last year where we have to issue contracts without a raise. So that I think is our primary piece, is to get that compensation piece nailed down so that when Dr. Johnson and his department, we push out those contracts, they reflect what the salary will be. If you recall last year, we had to push them out without the increase and then come back in July, get that approved by the Board of Supervisors on the 17th of July, and then reissue all of those contracts. So not only is that stressful for folks, it puts them in a difficult position because other surrounding school divisions may have their their contracts approved with the new amount, but it's also a heavy burden and workload on both the finance and the human resources department to redo those numbers and then reissue every single contract with staff. So we'll keep you posted on that. We hope we're not in that boat. And then just looking ahead, so Ms. Jeffries, to compliment your staff, yes. School Lunch Hero Day, we celebrate that and we celebrate all of those staff members. On the 6th through the 10th of May is Teacher Appreciation Week. It's sort of a national thing, a state thing. We celebrate here in Page County. We've decided we celebrate all of our staff that week. So obviously teachers, because we celebrate on Wednesday is Teacher Appreciation Day. There's nurse appreciation during that time. We choose to celebrate all of our employees during that week. So all employee groups will get a thank you from the division, but we also want to extend a thank you to groups like our parent-teacher organizations, other families and groups, businesses and organizations that during that week, they spoil our staff, and rightfully so. Our staff need to be spoiled. So we don't do this work alone. Principals do a great job of celebrating and thanking their staff. So just so that you all are aware, that's coming up really quickly on May 6th through the 10th. And that's all I have for you all tonight. If you have any questions, be happy to answer.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
Ms. Sechrist, approval of claims for payment.
Yes, good evening, Board. You have the claim certification where Fund 1 operations are $435,079.25. No Fund 2 capital improvement expenditures. Fund 5 food service, $2,122.77 for total expenditures of $437,201.77. Along with that is the list of claims and the check register. So if you have any questions, I'll do my best to answer them.
I make a motion, we approve the claims for payment as presented.
Second.
A motion by Mr. Oberfeld and a second by Mr. Painter to approve the claims for payment as presented.
Ms. Bryant?
Yes.
Mr. Overfeld?
Yes.
Ms. Alger?
I
don't think she's on
she
there.
disconnected.
Mr. Painter?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
Ms. Sechrist, purchase orders over 10,000.
Yes, Board, we have 6 purchase orders for your consideration this evening, that several of them piggyback on things that have already been presented to you this evening, so that's exciting. The first 2 are for technology, 30 Optiplex, which I believe are towers. Yes, I'm learning. Thank you, Blake. You should be proud of me. And 118 Chromebooks, and I'm sure if there are any questions on those, Mr. Samples would be able to answer those much better than I would. The 40 stop armed cameras for the buses, that is utilizing FY23 end of year local fund, the resolution that you all had previously approved. Mr. Corey Turner and myself worked with the county and their procurement position on this over the past few days. The next one, we are currently working, Mr. Corey Turner and myself, on a 14 passenger activity bus with the county, also utilizing those funds. We were hoping to get your approval that way. If they give us the go-ahead with that, we can move forward quickly on receiving those, as they are kind of harder to secure and come back. Dual enroll payments to Page County High School, that is a similar PO that you all saw at the last meeting for Blue Ray High School. The last one, action-based learning, community schools grant, that is to be expended by the end of this year on June 30th. Mr. Hopkins, myself, and Ms. Marston have worked with this company, as well as with the VDOE and school principals at the elementary school level, to get these action-based equipment and labs in the elementary schools as our pilots. And the principals have targeted 2 people with the potential of 2 more people in their building that these would go to. So when Mr. Hopkins and myself met with the VDOE, our principals have done a great job of targeting the parents and getting them into the building. Now that hopefully our chronic absenteeism is going to be going down, how do we keep these kids in the classroom as well, not just in the building? And this action-based learning gives the elementary schools the potential to have movement while instruction is still going on. And then there is a potential that if we were able to get a community schools grant again, that we could target some secondary level classrooms with this as well. If you have any questions, we'll do our best to answer those for you.
Make a motion that we approve the purchase orders over 10,000 as presented.
Second.
So we have a motion and a second. Does anybody have any questions about purchase order?
No, I'm good. Yes.
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 Yes,
Thank you.
thank you. Board member discussion, Jeff?
When is the dinner? The steak dinner is Saturday? May 4th. Okay, just want to make sure. Make sure I get my ticket. Okay, good. Oh, looking ahead.
Prepared. Love it.
All right. I went to the tech center and visited, and I found it awesome. And the thing that was the most awesome part of it were the kids or the other students who were teaching the younger students, and they were, especially the tire shop guys. They were talking about race cars and everything, and the electrical shop, the welding shop. I mean, these guys, they were as good as some of the other instructors. And it was really very encouraging to see the instruction staff giving them that time to let them stand up and tell the fifth graders what they do. Yeah. I mean, it was very good. And I walked into the cosmetology. I thought I was walking into a full-up salon. I mean, these kids were in there, and the guys too. They were doing hair, and I thought, well, maybe I need a haircut. Maybe I can get one of those there.
You can get a haircut there.
Yes, you can. You can.
So, I mean, it was very, very encouraging. I want to thank Jenny and Timmy today for taking me down to the Springfield Elementary and showing me the kitchen facility. And I got a firsthand look of some of our needs. That was very eye-opening. And I think I haven't made it to all the schools yet, but my goal is to do that. And I think it's very, it's nothing like hands-on experience to see what our needs truly are. But I was also amazed too when she told me the number of lunches, meals that she's going to be preparing, her and her staff is going to be preparing this summer. Was it 58,000? Is that right?
Yeah.
58,000 meals. I mean, that is just an incredible number that we're going to be providing to the children within Page County, and it's going to be growing. You know, we're going to see numbers continue to grow, and it's an issue that we're all going to have to learn how to grapple with, and the stress levels are going to continue. And thank goodness we've got the EAP programs, and we're reaching out to people and offering them some respite, if you will, from those issues. Also, just wanted to say a shout out to the presenters tonight. Great information. Really appreciate what you're doing. I mean, it's the amount of teamwork that I see from your presentation, and it's laudable. And the achievements that you're making, not only in the education of our children, which, to Dwayne's point, they're our most important asset. They are our future. And so I really am taken back by all the wonderful work you're doing. That's for me.
Thank you for everybody who came to speak tonight, and we really appreciate you being here. And I'm slowly making my way around to some schools, and I look forward. I think I've got 2 more on my list to hit up before the end of the school year, and I think I'll be able to make that happen. Fingers crossed, I'll be in touch. I was able to attend Thursday evening to Page County High School to see what the students have. I'm going to tell you, I was really blown away by the toilet paper. I mean, the things that they were able to make out of toilet paper, I found myself just like, I mean, I told everybody about it. Did you see what they made out of toilet paper? So, good job. All of it was impressive, but, you know, great job. People were excited to be there. It was a lot of people taking the opportunity to just enjoy conversation, and that's what you want to see within your community. So excellent job there. I also had the opportunity to visit with, to watch, I should say, our bands get together with the Shenandoah and Page. And wow, what I'm trying to say is we have got some amazing talent, and our students are really gifted. You know, we have fantastic athletes, but music, we are just inclined and artistic, and good job, Page County. I mean, if the community could come out and see this richness that our students offer, I love it. I love it. And as a parent, I got to hang out at the technical center and watch that all take place. And very impressive. Very impressive. I love the real life scenario. I think that is wonderful. It gets them prepared for graduation, real life. They're still teachers, but in a different way. And I think that is very helpful for the transition. So thank you all. You're working really hard and it doesn't go unnoticed. And we do appreciate what you're doing. And for the community and parents, just reach out and communicate. People do want to communicate with you. So, but that's the key. Just talk to us. We're here to help. We're a team. Thank you all.
Yeah, the presentations, I hope we do them next year. They've been great. It's been good to connect with really what's going on. And I just want to thank you guys for giving us stability. Not every school has had the stability that you guys have had, and that makes a difference. And I appreciate y'all sticking around and working with us. Thank you.
Well, I think they all said it very well. I mean, I say it all the time. I love public school systems. I love Page County Public Schools. I think we have an amazing team. You guys, every presentation has been great. Mm-hmm. Our teachers, I wouldn't have sent my kids anyplace else. The school food, I would challenge anybody to go to any cafeteria anywhere and get more fresh food that is prepared than in our schools. So, it's just great. We come to our meetings are getting a little bit long, but they're good. It's a lot of good information, but I wish everybody would watch and just see the phenomenal things that are going on. Because there's so much negative. We talk about the stress and we talk about everything else. We've got some amazing people. We got amazing kids, we got amazing teachers, we got amazing staff. Mm-hmm. They just watch a couple meetings and you'll be impressed. Our future is going to be okay.
I have an alibi. I just want to spend more time trying to educate folks who aren't watching tonight, or maybe not paying attention to what's going on in our schools, because I just feel like I wish we could get a better marketing program together that we could really educate the people of Page County.
We have to tell our story.
Yeah, we do. We need to tell the success story. And yeah, we've got hiccups here and there, but I mean, the 99.9% of the time, it's a great story to tell, and we need to tell it. Mm-hmm. Just got to figure out better ways to do that. Maybe newspaper articles. I don't know. Maybe we can get a friendly press to come in. I don't know.
You might want to go the IG route.
Instagram, TikTok.
Instagram, yeah.
Well, there you go.
On TikTok.
Yeah. Stations.
Thank you. That's all.
Yep. Thank you. Who's going to take Taylor's, Miss Alger's? We need a motion to adjourn.
Oh. Look, we were a little eager about that one,
second.
right. Make a motion to adjourn.
Second. Oh.
So we have a motion in a couple seconds to adjourn.
Yes.
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 Yes.